we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code ATNIGHT to get 5% off your order. What's good, YouTube? It's Atlas and Root Beer. And we're totally in separate rooms. So we just finished day one of Springfest, and we sucked at it.
You sucked at it.
We as a team sucked at it.
Fair.
Yeah. So I thought we'd do our deck profile. Unfortunately, our third Rice isn't here because he went home. So hopefully maybe I can get him to film the deck profile and send it to us. But yeah, so we're going to film these one after the other, and I'm either going to stick them together or make it two separate videos. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. And we will almost certainly be going over these lists again when we recap it on the podcast.
Yeah. Which I do feel kind of bad about, but what you going to do? Shit happens. So I guess I'll start with mine because that's where the window was. I was on Luquier, and Luquier is, I thought, better than it was going to be. Like, I knew it wasn't top tier or anything. Like, it's not like I'm running around with Eva, but I thought I at least had like a decent road position, and then I had a Dawson's faceplant bluff position, and I'm not even going to try and make that into a play on words. It was just bad. But the deck does well at locals, and I figure it's like halfway decent. I think the original Luquier deck profile that I filmed also on this channel is pretty similar to this. So I'll be pretty quick with it. Root Beer, you can pretty much monopolize most of the time, but you got your ride line. I'm not sure why Lillian is not part of the ride line there. I'm lucky we didn't get deck checked for whatever reason. You have Urselta, which helps you countercharge. Unfortunately, it only works when called by the skill of your Vanguard, so it has to be off of Luquier still. It can't be off of anything else in order to get that countercharge, which is kind of a pain. Also, it's not Silverthorn, so in Premium you can't do anything with it very much, which is kind of a pain. 4 copies of Rising Dragon, who, you know, big playmaker early game, and then he's a big Chongus late game, where you can cycle, but most of the time he's hitting for either 20 or 30k by himself, which is very nice. For Lillian, Lillian is part of your ride line, but also allows you to be a 10k blocker, and she's like half a dragon, where like when she's called, she gets 5k power and shield, so cool. Then I'm hitting for 15 by myself without too much assistance. 4 Falcate, thanks for the frame rare, by the way. Falcate allows you to set up your soul, and then as well 2 copies of Zyto, which I don't think was in the original list at the time. Zyto ended up being almost more important because it allowed, like, Falcate only puts something into soul if you don't have that grade, because it's supposed to work with your jeweled. Zyto lets you put anything when it's pulled in. I think this is going to expand in usefulness as you know, Pale Moon and Dark States gets more stuff. Because then you can be like, all right, I'll ditch it for ride line and then stick it back in.
It does have to be placed by card ability, though, so that could be an issue.
What? Zyto? Zyto has to be put in by card ability. So yeah, you always do it as part of Luquier's skill at end phase. And that's kind of it. I mean, it works for, like, there was one time I did it with the order, where, like, he was the swing, and then Vanguard swing, he goes in, and then he sucks something in. But I think, A, it's the budget option, because this is not $30 a copy, but B, I think I might flip the ratio and do 4-2 for Zyto to Falcate, because it turned out to be more useful most of the time. Abrupt Lever, which this is just a 13k almost any time of the game. It didn't come up ever. I drew this thing once, and I guarded with it. I don't think that makes it a bad card, but that's just how it is.
Would you consider replacing it with anything?
Yes. I'm not going to give you a straight answer. It just it's there. It's not really super crazy. 3 Breathing Dragon. The reason I didn't do just 4 Breathing Dragon is you only use one at a time, and you go through enough of your deck for like there's going to be multiple copies. I kind of just wish like give me either grade 1s with 10k shield again, premium format best, or just like something else. Because like this is nice where it gives you front row 5k the whole turn, and it's like a half a persona ride, but you can't call it more than once because Luquier has to call 3 separate grades, so you're stuck doing a 1 2 3 0 1 2 something like that. And I don't know. I feel like just the deck's missing something, and I don't quite know what it is, at least for standard. Your triggers are pretty straightforward. Fronts were there literally just for shield and crits and your OT and stuff. And the order is always a 4 of, never not a 4 of, because this is the only way the deck gets 4 attacks ever. So if you do not see this, you do not get 4 attacks. Luckily, the deck goes through enough cards where you probably will see it. There was one game where I twin drove this late game, like 2 copies of it. I was like, I already have the 2 in rotation, but all right, whatever. And then proceeded to die after because this doesn't have shield. Sorry, what?
I was going to say, I was sitting right next to you when that happened. Like, I saw the opponent going into their Maelstrom turn, and even though they didn't have anything, they could still call a card from Soul. So I saw you with your 3 cards in hand at 5 damage, and I'm like, you are so dead.
Oh, yeah, I was up the river. And also, in my defense, you're sitting next to me literally the entire day.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I really like this thing. I really like the potential of this thing in Premium, too, for Silverthorns players. So, like, I know She-Del Gaming is into that. Check out her channel. She's pretty cool. And, yeah. Oh, I also recommend against running the Cup in this deck, the, like, Persona Ride Goblet of Fire, whatever the hell it is, because you have to play the order to really get your thing going. And if you waste it on the Persona Ride Cup, it's like, whatever. I'd rather just have the 4th attack than the Persona Ride. So
that sounds correct.
Yeah, and I'm sorry this is very truncated, but as usual, Decklog will be in the description. So your turn.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I love my Decklog.
I have it up already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I should pull it up myself because I'm realizing now that I'm going to need to like scroll and click on the cards.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to click on them as you're talking because we're sitting across from each other.
Well, yeah, but it's easier when I have control. We could just swap seats.
Fine, let's do that. Musical chairs.
This is staying in the video.
Yes, it is. No. Oh, and even more confusing, I'm wearing a Stoichea t-shirt and I didn't play Stoichea today.
I'm the Stoichea expert now. Who won that series anyways between you and Jaime?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I won standard, or no, I won V in premium. He beat me in standard.
Yeah. Maelstrom best deck, obviously.
He was
He was also on Maelstrom, wasn't he? I didn't actually watch it.
It was Maelstrom Thavas. That was the
yes, but Maelstrom best deck. So yeah, I took Maelstrom. Ignore the Roro starter. I didn't feel like having like 5 different starters between all my decks, and most of them, except for I think Flagberg, don't care. So I can just run this one.
Right.
Because Roroa does care, but Roroa is my pet deck. Maybe I'll do a video on it eventually, maybe. So yeah, for our ride line, we have the Roroa starter. We have Theo, which gets you the Blue Storm Armada card, which is the order. Algos, which when it's rode upon by an Aqua Force, you can check your top 7 for either an Aqua Force or a Tear Dragon. This will be nice because it's future-proofed if they ever make more Aqua Force encounters.
I think what really bothers me is that is so much better where you can just be like, all right, I'll get, X number. Like, Tear Dragons are going to be around forever.
Yes.
So,
and Aqua Force cards if they keep making encounters.
Yeah, but like, even if they never do it again, you just have Tear Dragons.
Yeah, and then of course we have 4 copies of Maelstrom, our boss unit. So you can discard a card You can call an Aqua Force or a Tear Dragon from your soul, and it gets the red text on attack if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, and it's the first battle. You can counterblast one and stand it. And at the end of your turn, you put it into your soul, and on attack, 4th battle or more, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and you draw a card. So yeah, moving on. For the no-brainer stuff, we have 4 copies of Inlet Pulse Dragon, just because it gets you value from the Maelstrom ability, because you can just put it into soul with its own effect before resolving Maelstrom. So you get the free draw to replace the card you discard. So we max out on it because we always want to have it, I think.
Plus it's getting reprinted, which is nice.
Yeah, like, I feel like if you go on Twitter, like, a lot of people will just try to shove Inlet Pulse into decks that don't need Inlet Pulse in it. Leonorn. And also
really?
You don't need it in Leonorn.
Why would you? Okay, yeah.
And also me putting it into Roroa and then realizing it's really bad in Roroa, but, you know, it's actually good in this deck because, like, what's his face, Magnolia, you get value off of being able to just cycle the same copy over and over again. Although...
I'm sorry, I'm mesmerized by his mouse. You can't really see it, but it's like glowing different colors.
The RGB gamer lights.
Dude. I need to get high and just stare at your mouse. Sorry, continue.
Oh boy, you're going to love gamer gear when you're high. But yes, so Inlet Pulse is great in this deck because you can just keep cycling the same copy and get infinite value out of it. And I did end up bricking on a bunch of extra copies several times where I'll just like drive check 2 Inlet Pulses the same way he drove check 2 copies of the Luquier order, so that was fun.
That's the problem with like cards where you needed to make the deck work, but you don't want them all, like Persona Rides too, where like,
yeah.
Wait, I have 3 of them? I don't even know if I'm going to survive, dude. Like,
yeah, and then I have 1 copy of the Shoreline Raised Dragon. This is just on attack, 4th battle or more. If you have a Blue Storm Armada card, it gets 10k, and at the end of the battle, you put it into the soul, which is mandatory.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just big bungus. You don't want to play a lot of it just because it is minusing you. Like, theoretically, it's a neutral if you, like, call it off of Maelstrom. But, like, So yeah, 1 copy unless you're, like, on a budget. 4 copies of Tidal Assault, of course. So...
This might be my favorite art of his.
I think I still like the original, but... this one, the Soul Blast one, you can give your Vanguard 5k. I swore there was a universe where it gave itself and your Vanguard 5k, but I guess not.
Like, even Spool Mary from Great Nature gives itself and Vanguard plus 10.
Yeah,
even,
but
and it was
this
free.
This one restands itself.
Okay, that's fair. But still, it really ought to have given itself 5k.
I thought that's what it did on reveal, and then I like looked at it again, and it never did, and it doesn't have any erratas.
Mandela effect.
Yep.
I mean, the worst part about us saying, I'm pretty sure I said this, is that there is a 6-year-long record of everything we've said that people can just go back and call our ass.
See, that's the thing. This isn't something I said. This is just like, I could have sworn when it was first revealed, it gave itself and the Vanguard 5k, but it doesn't. And then, end the battle attack, second battle, you can, if you have a standing Vanguard with Maelstrom, you can counterblast 1 and stand it. So, this card is very important for just volume of attacks, but I did run into a problem where, because I kept going second every single game, I kept running into positions where I had to find a way to buff up Tidal Assault, which I'll talk about changes I'll make to the deck afterwards.
Yeah, I went second literally every game of the tournament today. There was one time where we got paired up, I did the dice roll, I'm like, I'm going first. Oh, 3 pairings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why we lost all, or not you, but me and Rice.
Did I win that game? I feel like that was during my losing streak too.
Maybe.
And then we have Wheel Assault, so end of battle it boosted. If you have Vanguard with Maelstrom, you can Soul Blast 1, choose 2 rear guards, swap their positions. This one is pretty important. So it's a nice way to just get extra offense in. The one game I did not find Wheel Assault, I really wish I had Wheel Assault, so, you know. Pretty good card. I'm not sure what else to say about it. It's one of those boringly competent cards.
God, that is such an infuriating way to have a card where like this is super important. It also And
yeah, like it does what it does. It swaps two things. I used it like every game, and the one game I passed it up to get an inlet pulse. I drove check 2 inlet pulses, and really wish I called wheel assault instead.
It's a shame.
Yeah, and then
the $30. I can't believe this is $30 at the time of recording this.
Yeah, I don't know why this card is so expensive, but yes, I'm playing 2 copies of Diantha. So my logic is that this deck is susceptible to like removal, so I wanted additional ways to get things from the drop zone in addition to Judgment Maelstrom, which is at the very bottom. But that's why I'm playing Diantha, but I'm not 100% sold on it. It's also like a 13k when you have another grade 1, which you almost certainly will with Wheel Assault.
Yay.
So I have swapped it with Wheel Assault before. This card is mid. Like, I've used the call ability before. Like, I've used it as an attacker, as just like call it early, call like a Wheel Assault behind it. It doesn't have a grade restriction for its 5k, so I can early game with it, I guess.
Ooh, I've never done that. Like, I run this in Great Nature and Premium because you can use it to call stuff.
I did misplay because I forgot the part that it only calls when I'm at grade 3. But, you know, I can still early game with it. It did lead to an awkward moment where I'm like, this is in front of the Wheel Assault, and I really needed to get Tidal on the board, which just call over it. But, yeah, this card is, like, mid. I'm thinking of replacing it, but also, like, it's not terrible in the deck either.
It's also, like, if you replace it, you're saving yourself X number of dollars times
Yeah, and then because I like annoying people, I have 2 of this art of a PG, 1 of this PG, and then the Sanctitude.
You really know how to piss me off. It's wonderful.
In fairness, I only ever had 1 copy of this when I first got Stoichea stuff because it was Zorga, I didn't care that much, and I only pulled 1 of them out of the box that I had bought.
So, I offered extras to you last night, and then you were just like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, because I have 4 copies of the other one.
Oh my god, you're killing me. All right.
I just choose to play it at this ratio to annoy people.
I can reach across the table and get them now.
Yeah. I have Prize Trident at 3, so just when another unit attacks 5th battle, you can put it into your soul charge.
Counter charge.
Or counter charge, yeah. This ended up... So in the course of playing this deck, it didn't come up during Springfest, but whenever I'm testing, this card always feels super awkward.
Because it's in the way, and then when you get to 5th battle, you still want it there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because, like, the thing probably you need to do is, like, put it behind Vanguard, and Maelstrom was... Whenever I go through my attack pattern, Maelstrom is almost always exactly 4th. So, like, I can have the Prize Trident, then put it in, but, my board never ends up working out that way. And it didn't come up ever because I only counterblast, 2 at a time. 1 for Tidal Assault, and then 1 for the Maelstrom effect. And a lot of the time during my first grade 3 turn, I don't even use the Maelstrom effect because it's not worth it at that point. So, going second every single game, I think I used the Maelstrom effect once just because I couldn't build a board otherwise.
I guess, the only other real option for countercharge that's not, archetype focused is a Clipping Dragon, where it's that same, if you did 5 or more attacks, end phase, put it in soul.
Yeah. This has the benefit of being a booster as well, but also... I did realize that this deck has a decent amount of grade 1s and a low amount of the other grades.
Yeah.
So
that was the problem with my deck, where I only had 8 grade 2s.
I have a total of 9 2s and 3s and 11 1s that aren't PGs.
And that may not seem like a problem because you have Ride Line, but with how small shields are on grade 1 specifically, intercepts are kind of important.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm skeptical of Prize Trident in this deck. The way I built it, I don't run through enough counterblast most games to actually warrant using it. It didn't come up.
Yeah.
And then for trigger ratio, I went with 7 crit, 4 draw over trigger, 4 heal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's just kind of the standard ratio. The deck has decent draw power. I found myself wanting to draw more, but that's more just hand quality rather than hand size.
Right.
had at least 2 games where I just did not have perfect guards. One against Youthberg, one against Eva. The Eva one was more impactful.
Yeah, I had that problem too. Where like I think 2 of my rounds, I would have like 1 PG on damage, and then the rest was just in deck by the end of the game. Yep. And that has nothing to do with the deck building or anything. Like the deck was pretty small. It's just they all like to hang out together. I don't know what the deal is.
Mm-hmm. And then only 1 copy of the Gold Magnolia Order at the moment. I had 2 in my original list, and then I cut one of them for this guy because I figure having something that's just big on its own is good enough.
Yeah.
I probably want to go back to 2 though. The Gold Magnolia Order came up quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In contrast, Judgment Maelstrom did not come up very often at all.
Really?
Because, like, I would play it to build a board. Like, it's a good card because it makes your ride line free, basically. Because, like, you always get this off of the grade 1, and then at any point you can just call something back. But it also doesn't give power until, like, you have additional copies.
So you don't want to have less than 4 because you need it to. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Like this card, this card is very frustrating because like I like having it so that the ride line is free. I used it pretty consistently, but also like the situations where it came up, I felt like it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So it's just this awkward card of like, it should be in here. I just don't know like what to do with it. Also, for some reason, both during Springfest and whenever I test, I just end up with like 4 copies of this in my hand at all times. I don't understand it.
Just the way it is. They hang out together.
Yeah, like, I don't know why. And it's just like, okay, we're turn 3 and I already have 3 of these in my hand. Why?
I really wish, like, I don't know how you would, quote, fix it, but...
I don't know how to fix it either. Like, there's the option of running, what's it called? Condensation, because this deck... I've soul blasted for Title's effect occasionally, but usually I don't have to, because most people either just take the Vanguard or just perfect guard it. There's not a lot of in-between.
Yeah.
I think there are only a couple instances I did it to get over a damage trigger.
Yeah, and then like you also have things like Inlet Pulse and Price Trident. Like, what would you change about the list?
I might cut a copy of Prize Trident for Adamantis to give something 5k. Something I ran into, like, going second a lot was Tidal Assault not hitting things. A lot of the time, I just got lucky and drew my 1 of the Gold Magnolia Order, but I'd probably cut a Judgment to play 2 of the Gold Magnolia Order. Like, I don't think I want to go lower than 2 Judgments just because, like, 1, to definitely search off the ride line, and 2, in case you draw in your opening hand.
Like, it doesn't become better than Condensation until the 3rd one.
Yes, that is correct. And a lot of games did not get to me playing the 3rd one, especially because I also have to play the Gold Magnolia Order sometimes. Yeah,
it really, like, being able to only play 1 order a turn really hamstrings some decks, and I think I think it would be interesting if Bouchard was just like, all right, they work like spell cards in Yu-Gi-Oh!
So I'm gonna like probably 3 Judgment, 2 of the Gold Magnolia Order, see how I feel about that. I want to put Adamantis in the deck just to buff up Tidal Assaults. I don't know what I cut at least 1 Prize Trident. I want a second Adamantis though. I might just cut the Shoreline Dragon again.
I would say cut 2 Prize Trident and like 1 Diantha or something. If it's that important. Having 5k. I mean, then you have 3.
Yeah, like I could also just like cut Diantha entirely and play like 3 Adamantis, 2 Prize Trident.
Oh yeah, and by the way, for people wondering why wasn't I playing Sanctitude Impalement, that was a meta call because I don't think you're gonna see any grade 4 stuff.
Chronojet. It's okay, Rice fought all the Chronojets on our behalf.
That's true. Okay, I forgot about Chronojet. A, B, lazy. Sorry. I don't... Standard... After Chronojet came out, I just kind of got despondent. And,
It's okay. Atlas was in the A seat, which meant Rice got to take all of the Chronojets playing B heroes because he was the C seat.
Yeah, that was weird. That I thought I thought all the meta stuff was going to be in the AC, which I should have put you in hindsight. But oh well.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
But yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. This is a weird deck profile. I'm probably going to have some fun with a thumbnail where it's like Luquier pushing Maelstrom out of the frame or vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment. Patreon.com/Nexus and Night. And we probably won't get to do this for a while, but we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay.
Well, if you want to say something, say it.
No, let's end the recording first.
Okay.